It's been a close back and forth with some crazy fights, but it is G2 that will get the better of Fnatic today. 849 days. How long have Fnatic waited? How long have their fans waited? Victory over G2 Esports.
Noah going berserk, and now he's just trying to solo Broken Blade, but Broken Blade already taking down one. Can just look for a few more. G2 just slaughtering Fnatic. The fight is Caps caught out. The bombs is there. Caps locked down, clean, engage. Oscarinin, Jhin, Razork working together flawlessly. Caps does not care. Double kill. Plans, but there you go. Ace in the hole. Oh, the combo from Noah.
Storm is a 4-man, and it's a Disco Inferno! Razork burns, baby burns! And someone in Yike able to get away. The solar flare is gorgeous! A solar flare around an Infernal Drake! 1-7 serendipity for G2! Berlin! Are you ready to meet your finalists? Finally, favorites, they're here to reclaim the throne that was stolen from them. Is today the day that ends 6 long years of waiting? It's Fnatic! Oscarinin! Razork! Humanoid! Noah! And Jhin! And their forever fated opponents, they've been knocked down once by Fnatic and they're here to get their retribution. They got 2 shields and they're looking to make it 3. G2 Esports! Broken Blade! Yike! Caps! Summer! Mikyx! Joined by their coaching and support staff, Berlin, give it up for your summer split finalists! For Fnatic is the culmination of a year of blood, sweat and tears, finally finding their place on top. For G2, it's another chance to prove there is no space above them in Europe. The Summer Split Final starts now!
Definitely looking to bring some revenge. Losing against Fnatic always sucks. We're gonna come in stronger than ever.
849 days. How long have Fnatic waited? Victory over G2 Esports.
It's way funnier now that we are in the finals and they are going from the loser bracket. It's harder for them now.
I expect us to get way better the longer we go.
G2 stealing in the chance in a game 5, securing themselves the rematch versus Fnatic in the finals.
Body blocking as much as he can with the Unbreakable, but it's Oscarinin in the back line, deleting Caps. Get out, Broken Blade getting in front of that damage, but the Caitlyn, as strong as she is not enough in the face of 3 carries. Noah with the triple, Fnatic with the fight.
But we're definitely looking to do another low bracket run.
We can play way better than this. We will have fun in the final.
The ball time coming in. Bullbrov instantly going to cancel. The flick back on to 3 from Nuke is massive. ISO still getting cut down. G2 still alive. The Jinx reset's not enough. They will not give BDS a game 5.
I think this win will give us the boost we needed to win tomorrow as well.
G2 is not the only team that can win.
You guys barely beat us this time, but in the final, we'll come swinging.
Oh, I just can't wait. Fnatic versus G2 in their 7th final against each other. This time, Fnatic the favorites, it seems, coming into today.
Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting one, right? Often it is a situation where G2 are the final boss, but now G2 are challengers after being knocked down into the loser's bracket and having to fight their way up. Fnatic are riding the high of their victory in the last upper final best of 5, but I'm excited to see the adaptations because Fnatic, they've shown no cards so far coming into this week. They haven't had to reveal any of their drafts, but G2 showed a lot yesterday, Dagda.
Yeah, they showed everything that they had on the table, and I think that's where you're really going to have to see what that adaptation from the Fnatic side is going to be, how they want to approach this. Now, obviously, taking that Game 5 with the Nidalee already shows that Fnatic have some tricks up their sleeve. But in the finals now, can Razork have a similar performance? Because he was really the difference maker when we got into that game number 5. And I'm going to be keenly keeping my eyes on him to see if he can show up here once more.
So let's see what they do with things like the Ashe. How high of a priority is it going to be in this series? Along with the Rumble. Well, okay. Gonna be banned away Varus, targeted towards Hans Summit. Really looking to pinch his pull. We heard from Caedral on the Analyst desk earlier that he questions Hans Summer's champion pull in the current meta, and already Fnatic is looking to try and limit that even more.
And now the question is what happens with the Misfortune, and that's going to be taken off as well. So Fnatic, high priority on taking away these bot lane champions, but I mean, you can still go towards, we've seen Noah even go towards things like the Caitlyn, we've seen Jhin's come out, Kai'Sa still up and available. Maybe Fnatic want to try and lock in an early AD carry to confirm it, but no, the Zyra, which was a big pick for Yike yesterday, going to be taken away.
See if the Sejuani is the immediate response from G2. With Zyra being such a fast-clear jungler, sometimes the answer is just provide some engage, solid frontline, a nice tank that can easily start fights, especially with Warmogs being so prevalent in the meta. G2 taking their time to think about the first pick.
And a lot of people have been saying, hey, you just go for the brand in this situation, but it has not worked out for a lot of Europe. It's sitting at 44% win rate at the moment, so going to move over towards the Sejuani instead. I think it's a good shout. This was a highly contested pick in their last series, and it was only fell at the finish line for G2 Esports.
We would have to imagine that the Corki comes alongside it. We saw Caps pretty much exclusively playing that champion yesterday, and I think it makes sense as a safe blind mid laner right now. Of course, we've seen Lucian a lot as an answer in the mid lane, but Corki seems to be the go-to, and that's going to be locked in by G2.
Yeah, and Caps looked comfortable once he got to the mid game on the Corki, right? Even getting solo kills on Nuke on the Lucian, so happy to take that one again. Now, do you try and go towards the Lucian for Humanoid on the opposite side? He has been spamming a lot of those AD mids, like trying even champions out like Misfortune in the mid lane, but I wouldn't be surprised yet. There's the Lucian, and then do you take an AD carry here for Noah to try and secure, but no, going to take the Rell away.
And Rell just so strong when it comes to team fighting, right? We've seen both these teams have games decided by a good Magnet Storm throughout the course of summer. Put Jhin on something that he has playmaking ability on, put it on his most played across playoffs, something he hasn't lost with across the course of playoffs as well. Where will G2 go with their final pick here on the first rotation of red side?
I wonder if it's Braum or Ezreal. Both are available. Oh, they're going to lock in that Ezreal. So we're going to get to see... Now, it can be flexed, but if we get to see Hans Summer's Ezreal, that will be his first Ez of the split.
It would be a really interesting flex as well with Corki already locked in, because are you flexing the Corki down towards the bot lane?
Exactly.
We haven't seen that much.
I think here, though, for G2 Esports, you ban away the Kai'Sa already, go ban away the Zeri, and now I'm looking at Noah going, what do you want to go for? Caitlyn has been the option that we've seen over the course of playoffs that he's fallen back to, but maybe even look towards something like a Jinx, where you're not going to be under a huge amount of pressure in that bottom side of the map, or you could even just go back towards the Jhin, which has also been something Noah's brought out to just provide utility and open up Oscarinin to play this heavy carry style in the top lane.
Now, Hans Summer does have Ezreal in his history, of course, a player who's had a career as long as has. You'd expect it. 37.5% win rate across 24 games.
Okay, it's not great.
It's not great. And again, there are certain champions that you naturally attribute towards him as an individual. Draven is one of them. Kalista is another one. He's a hyper-aggressive AD carry player. So to see him on the Ezreal, definitely be a change of places. Now, they target both the Kai'Sa and the Zeri, something that we saw them consistently doing yesterday.
There is also an option here for, like, I imagine they're going to leave counter pick for BB in that top side, but the Jace springs to mind here. You can take an engage support here for Mikyx, go towards something like the Nautilus. You've already got engaged with Sejuani. Play this poke style with Ezreal, Corki, and also then having the Jace in the back. But Poppy, I mean, kind of fits that as well, which is, hey, we're just going to try and play far back and keep you at bay. And now the Jhin on the opposite side for Noah could be the, hey, I'm going to provide those slows so you can't just play this poke style. We'll be able to try and close that distance on you.
Right now,
Fnatic is thinking about what potential blind. We have seen Renekton used as a relatively safe blind. Cassante is another option, but we know how many options Broken Blade has on the top side of the map. Meant that there's always the possibility of flexing this Poppy towards top 2. That's kind of the frustrating thing about the champion and how G2 was able to leverage it so much at MSI earlier this year. But Fnatic's composition is largely rounded out. They have a decent amount of range. They've got pretty solid team fighting. I feel like that they've got a reasonable amount of comfort across the board, but I'm curious to see how Noah will perform with this Jhin on the bot side.
I think the Jace could be really good here for BB. Again, I think the opportunity to push in topside against Renekton sets you up well, keeps you at a large distance from the likes of the Rell as well, where Rell kind of needs that flash to help close a lot of the distance, but going to be the Kennen instead, so trying to provide a little bit more of that engage and setup potential with that ultimate.
Which is something the rest of the composition was lacking a little bit. You have the Glacial Prism for engage, but then it's Mikyx sprinting at them, trying to get on top of them, or the Sejuani jumping in by herself. So having the Kennen gives you a bit more flankability, and that Slicing Maelstrom obviously will shred through what is a relatively squishy lineup on the side of Fnatic.
Both compositions are similar in ways in the sense that they have one champion that will primarily be leveraged in the side lane. I think Fnatic can, of course, send both the Renekton and the Lucian off the side, but Kennen and Corki should have no real problems in being able to match that. G2 have some strong team fighting elements thanks to the Sejuani and Kennen combo. Of course, the important thing about Kennen is always being able to find those flanks, but Fnatic's engage is going to be one of the scariest things. This Rell engage followed up by the Zyra is going to be a lot of potential upfront burst damage, and a lot of pressure is going to be on Mikyx to help mitigate that, find good use of his ultimate to create numbers advantage, and I think G2 have a lot of poke that they can look to leverage around objectives as well.
Yeah, I think you have to be very careful trying to look for that all-in. As you said, the Zyra gets a ton of value when you're jumping in as the Kennen. That's going to work out well, but I think that engage is also somewhat mitigated on Fnatic's side because that Poppy can interrupt that Rell crash down. So this is going to be a very much execution-based game for a lot of these team fights, and we're going to have to see how both sides manage that, because it has been a little bit sloppy from G2 at times. Fnatic definitely on the rise. We're going to see if they're able to come in strong here against Fnatic.
We are going to get onto Summoner's Rift, the first game of the day, the first game of our Summer Split Finals. And we usually like to ramp up a little bit in this moment, but I knew that was coming. So I'm not going to go any harder than that. Obviously a storied history between these two teams. We've had 7 finals now where they've played up against each other. The record is 5-1 in favor of G2. So for Fnatic, it would be a huge upset compared to historical records, at least, if they were able to win this series. We've also only ever had 1 3-2 between the two of them, as far as I can find. 2019 Athens.
I was going to say your last final, but that's not true.
It was my first final.
I mean, the last time we saw Fnatic drop G2 down to the lower bracket as well was summer 2020, where they managed to go to that 5-game grueling best of. Fnatic came out on top, and unfortunately then G2 clean swept them when they had that rematch in the finals. So Fnatic, hoping that they're not going to end up in a similar situation here. And it definitely doesn't feel like it. So many people looking at Fnatic as the favourites coming into today.
Because for those unfamiliar with our format, this is of course our summer split. We still have the season finals, which will be the culmination of the top 6 teams through summer split performances and championship points. But the winner of summer will secure one of the spots at this year's World Championship. They will be one of Europe's representations. Fnatic and G2, kind of unsurprising to see these two teams fighting for that spot, but very similar story to what happened back in 2020. Both of them fighting for that guaranteed spot. Yeah,
so often they've been the two teams that really spearhead Europe. You can see that having played over 100 games against each other. G2 very much holding the win-loss, and you can see Fnatic only 7 titles, G2 14 all-time. Now that is including the split titles, not only looking at like the season finals titles that we now have. Fnatic's last title all the way back in 2018, where they were able to pick it up.
G2 looking to replicate a strategy that they were implementing yesterday, along with BDS, where they do this delayed invade, leverage some of the power that they have at level 1, and seal away these camps. But Razork reacting appropriately. He's going to start on the top side. Look, he's beginning on his wolves, immediately moving into the enemy side jungle. He will be spotted out on vision. And I'm curious as to how Yike will respond to this, because there's the potential for the split map, which is what Fnatic and G2 are creating right now. And the good news for G2 is you isolate this Jhin and Rell from the jungle support, but you also isolate your Kennen, when alongside a Renekton, gives Fnatic potential to attack that top side.
Yeah, I think BB just going to look for the slow push out so he doesn't put himself in too much hassle, but Oscarinin getting some great trades on him right now. This actually might be a little dangerous.
Back up in half a second. He uses it immediately. He is stunned up, but Broken Blade's so low. Meanwhile, there's a dive in the bot lane. Nisqy exhausted, going to tank one extra tower shot, but he falls for first blood, and there's just no damage from the rest of G2 onto Fnatic. They strike first.
Big mistake. Mikyx goes in, thinks he can tack one more tower shot, but as you say, there's no damage. The exhaust was there to deny any sort of real follow-up from Hansamo or from Yike, and it's just done and dusted.
It's a miscalculation on the side of G2. And that's first blood over to Fnatic in game 1 already. Now, Razork is hovering around the top side, but look at Mikyx's response. He recognizes the potential dive, and he's here to protect.
Managed to get the knock into the wall on Razork. Does still have the flash. Will use it early. Oscar could continue the dive here. Broken Blade flashes away from the Ruthless Predator. Oscar able to use that slice and the dice through Mikyx to safety.
The fact that you have to burn Flash's Broken Blade, though, means that Oscarinin can set that up immediately again, because you still have to flash that Ruthless Predator. But Humanoid, training heavily against Caps in the mid lane. Level up means the Caps would just end up being all right. But yeah, I think for Fnatic, just look towards that top end once more after these resets come through.
I mean, all things considered... Oh, hang on a second, Mikyx.
I mean, Oscar still has flash here. We'll go through Mikyx, get knocked back, but Mikyx doesn't have steadfast presence yet. His W, he's only level 2, right? So he's got the knock into the wall and the hammer, and neither of those stop a Renekton sliding through you.
I mean, he's going to take away some XP from Broken Blade, but in terms of the top matchup, it's not going to be that big of a deal. TP available for Broken Blade. Bot lane, Hansamo is perfectly safe to catch this wave. Overall, small gold lead being built, largely on top of the Jhin right now. And yeah, I mean, early game plan from G2, splitting the map, looking for an early dive, doesn't quite go the way that they want. And setting up this Jhin for success, I think he's a very scary champion if you give him a small lead in lane, because you've got to remember that that fourth shot just gives you so much power, the dancing grenade as well. Jhin is a very effective laner, often why he's used as an answer to things like Draven, like Caitlyn, because he can help clear out those waves and go toe-to-toe with some of these strong laners as well.
At the moment, I think Fnatic just going to try and set up to spot out exactly where Yike is. Good vision already from Jhin, and again, I think the fact that you've already burned some of these summoner spells on towards G2, it's about trying to desync Razork from Sejuani so he can move back up towards his top end. He's even going to forgo his Krugs in the bottom end, so just looking to move back up here as soon as possible, because look at where the wave is on top end. It's already pushing out, and Yike now is going to be pulled up as well to just make sure that Broken Blade isn't going to be dived.
Still no flash for Broken Blade, only about a third of the cooldown back up for that, so it'll be a little while before he's able to get away. TPs were expended by both the mid laners and by Oscarinin to get back up towards top. He has a 12 CS lead. Mikyx continuously roaming here. Hansamo on the Ezreal, obviously very safe. It's one of the joys of Ezreal as a support, is you can just leave him alone, and if he dies, you can just blame him, because like, well, you've got Arcane Shift, you've got Flash, what are you doing? But Mikyx unable to find any purchase in the mid lane, forced out by Razork and Jhin.
Just a bit of trading back and forth. We set our sights on the early dragon. You know, in a bit of danger.
He flashes forward with a heroic charge. They go for Razork. Mikyx takes it. And Hansamo and Mikyx still very healthy. Yike is going to start up the Drake here. 5.5 minutes. It's G2 special over this weekend. Cap's already 6. Humanoid dashes away with the last bit of his mana. Gets a little bit back. And should be fine in this lane.
Great fancy feat for Mikyx. Dodges away from the Deadly Flourish of Noah, then dodges the binding coming through from Razork, and then's like, cool, you got no CC. I'm immediately going to go in, and sets up beautifully for Hansamo to set up for the kill. That was really well orchestrated.
I really feel like Razork did not expect that much damage to come through the squishy Zyra this early on into the game. It's punished apt.
Halo Blades, man.
Oh yeah, of course, the Halo Blades Poppy. Again, something that at MSI caught T1, top esport. A lot of teams got afraid of this Poppy from Mikyx. He brought it back to Europe and mixed success early at the start of summer, but he seems to have found his form, at least in game 1 today. Grub's going to be secured as well by the looks of it from Razork as the dragon is cross-mapped from the side of G2.
That's something we've seen from G2 a lot over the course of this weekend, right? Especially yesterday. First Drake, they were on it all the time. Whether it's just wanting to, or seeing that the plays are being made down there means that you spend more time down towards the bottom side. There's 2 people on the opposing team, so there's more gold to be had if you can manage to execute on those kills. Humanoid dashing in. Doesn't pop the culling as Caps just Valkyries away.
What's up with G2 though? Mikyx already starting to move up. Maybe just X-flashing back now. I wasn't sure if they were trying to maybe move in towards mid here and put a chokehold on towards Cap so he can get a reset in if he really needs to, but just going to contest the respawn of Camps here. Yike steals that away. Nicely done.
level 6 as well. Has access to the ultimate now. But with no objectives on the map, I imagine both teams will just turn their attention back towards farm and getting ready for the next major objective. Grub's 3 minutes, Dragon about 4.
This is such a slower pace compared to what we had in the last one, where it was almost like over a kill a minute, and it's just, all right, no, we're gonna take it easy, we're gonna trade objectives, a kill a piece. Even the fact that Broken Blade's flash is about to come back up in that top lane at a revisit, but Fnatic playing heavily for this bot side, really want to punish Hansama, but no mana, gonna struggle to push in the wave, but just about gets it in.
Broken Blade should be able to get the top wave in as well. Slicing Maelstrom is expended. Oscar, he's low, might not be able to survive under that tower as the culling comes out. Humanoid low on mana, can't chase any further. Oscar heals up with the Cull of the Meek, and he'll be fine as well.
I mean, the idea behind this matchup is that Kennen does start to bully out the Renekton. Early Merc Treads investment makes a lot of sense from Oscar. But overall, in terms of farm, things are very even. Broken Blade doing what he can to bully. But so far, it's not resulting in a huge amount. We'll see if any jungle attention gets thrown up towards there. But really, Yike has prioritized a lot of his early game focus around the bot side of the map.
Noah gets a plate in the bot lane, about 500 gold ahead for him. I will say G2 have done a pretty good job of keeping Razork's power farming under wraps. Part of that being the fact that they split the jungle early on, meaning that they can constantly invade that red side and force Razork off a few of those camps. Mikyx looking for Noah, who hasn't had the time to reset in this bot lane after taking that plate, but he should be fine. Jhin and Razork going up towards the top side. Yike will meet them. And it feels like this has kind of been the story of the game so far. Every time someone tries something, it's just matched by the enemy team. Broken Blade having to flash away there from Jhin. The Strangled Thorns were a possibility with Oscar dashing in. Probably would have spelled the end of BB's life. Meanwhile, in the bot side, Noah trying to survive. The True Shot Barrage comes out, misses, but the Mystic Shot does not. Hansama gets on the board for G2.
And I was about to say, the fact that Broken Blade's flash came back up meant you're zoning him off the tower and you'll get some plates, but you're going to be able to answer on the bottom side. They need a kill, they might get it.
Flash done with the Shadowing Strike. The Strangled Thorns comes down and Broken Blade is locked in place and locked out of the game, sent back to the fountain by Fnatic.
Fnatic persistent in their aggression onto Broken Blade. One of the risks of this Kennen is that you are prone to dives, and they make it work. They're still hovering around. Broken Blade and Yike thought that they would be safe to escort themselves back towards the top lane. But we look back at this bot lane play. I thought G2 were going to fumble this one as well, because we see has the 4th shot from Noah. Ends up having to reload early. Does very good damage onto Mikyx though, and I thought maybe you could get a kill here, but doesn't quite have the ammo, and the bouncing grenade doesn't connect, which means that Hansama then, with a nice arcane shift, is able to find that kill. But then we turn our attention to top.
Yeah, and you just get a nice lockup from Razork. Ultimate immediately comes down. Oscarinin has the damage, and there's nothing BB could do. He'd already burnt that flash in the last engage, so nicely done by Fnatic. Stick around, forcing Broken Blade to basically make that decision of I need to get back to lane or just lose so much.
You can see that both teams are very much thinking about their options on the map, and we're seeing a lot of great cross maps. Every time G2 tried to attack the bot side, Fnatic attacked the top, and if Fnatic are setting up a deliberate play on the top side, it's G2 looking to try and leverage on the bot. So both teams, to me, feel very locked in terms of their options. Both mid laners passively just sitting in mid, continuing to farm, prioritizing getting their items. Broken Blade a level down. Oh, Oscar goes in.
Slice and Maelstrom going down as well to try and lock Oscarinin in place. Yike on his way across, but can't really die with no wave being there. Caps now being chased by Razork and Jhin. Jhin no flash, but does have the crash down. Caps flashes himself. Magnet Storm will pull him back. Jhin tanks a tower shot, but not too much more. It's Fnatic are able to get the summoner out of the G2 mid.
Caps just barely not getting hit by that binding meant that he was in range then for the plants from Razork, so no real follow-up damage after Joe went in. G2 going to be able to set themselves up on the top side to, well, get one white grub, but seems they're scared.
Flash into the mid lane, True Shot Barrage coming out. Humanoid will flash himself, but the Keeper's verdict finds him guilty. Hansama with his 2nd on the board.
Okay, I mean, there's a lot of interesting map play happening right now. Fnatic are playing extremely well around their stacked waves. Attacking bot lane, attacking top lane. They're really trying hard to punish G2 in any window that they can. But G2 TP'd Caps up towards the top side, primarily I thought to get control over the grubs. But instead, Hans and Mikyx set up a dive onto Humanoid in mid lane. Now they have the kill lead. They turn their attention back towards top. Fnatic are resetting back out onto the map, but the dragon just gets secured. But look at the positioning of Jhin. He's in he's in a stance saying, I know you want these grubs, but we're not going to let you have them.
Because Yike moved up to try and help Caps on that topside push in case anything happened, he's now not able to get the Void Grub. So you can see Dragon taken, Razork gets the move up as well. So it will be 5 grubs now over towards Fnatic, which does help out when you look at Humanoid controlling Caps in a side lane.
Yeah, I mean, G2 basically used their turn in favor of Plights, but now I look at Yike.
Humanoid no flash, remember. Mikyx hex flashing over the wall, the culling into Yike's space. Mikyx with the knockback hammer, Sjokz will slow him down. There's the Winter's Wrath, and there's the Wrath of G2 as well. Yike flashes for it, but it's curtains for him. Tanks too many tower shots, couldn't avoid the curtain call. And in the end, Humanoid gets one in response.
A heavy commitment from G2. Flash burnt there from Yike. For Razork, once again, you see this movement from both teams looking for a dive in top lane.
Caps will clear this wave very quickly. Ruthless Predator's stun coming out. There's the Tangle Barbs as well, and Caps is down. Razork tanks 1 tower shot, but not a second. Even the True Shot Barrage not enough to claim his life. Mikyx with a heroic charge onto Jhin into the wall, but Humanoid's here to answer the call of his support. Mikyx escapes with a sliver, 12 HP, and now Broken Blade's in all sorts of hurt. Fnatic find another.
Immediate exhaust from Jhin as he saw the Maelstrom come out. There's nothing Broken Blade can do. He's got no damage left in the tank, and Mikyx will just barely slink away, but it's BB who falls in his place.
I feel like this is just a taster of what's to come. Both teams fighting back and forth. A nice TP comes through from Humanoid, knowing that they can easily collapse on this, and as you said it, Dagda, the exhaust comes through, completely mitigates the burst from Broken Blade. A situation where he perhaps could have at least gotten 1 kill, means that he's denied, and while he does keep his support safe, he loses his life in exchange.
But traditionally when we see these trades in a G2 game, it's G2 who are coming out on top, but Fnatic are the ones that are consistently coming out on top here. They're getting the extra kills, they're getting the tower top, they're finding moments to punish like that Broken Blade overextended, and now they're opening up with a 2k gold lead just off the back of outperforming G2 when it comes to these early macro plays.
And that gold lead is all on Oscarinin, 1.9k ahead of BB, who hasn't really been able to play the game. Every time he's pushed up in a side wave, there have been 2 or 3 members of Fnatic immediately collapsing on him. At the moment, has a bit of free time with that top wave, but we'll have to see how Oscarinin can translate his pressure with a TP behind, a counter TP being invested by Fnatic. Broken Blade will spot out Oscar, the culling goes down, Oscarinin able to dash away for now. Jhin low. They go in with the flash, the Strangled Thorns, the True Shot Barrage though misses Jhin. He was stunned in a Glacial Prison, but Hans Summer didn't have the key to open it up. The curtains are opened, and in the end, Caps will be able to walk away. 1 kill over to Fnatic.
Oscar with a nice TP demonstrates the game plan from Fnatic. Bring the fights to G2. They find a nice angle and a flash commitment from Razork to lock down Caps, force him out of the fight, and basically leaves Mikyx isolated. They find themselves another kill, but it's difficult to convert that really into another objective. Razork decides that he's just going to make a straight path towards the Herald. He's going to start this objective off as the rest of his team reset back out onto the map.
He is low though, and multiple members of G2 starting to work their way into the area, so does have to be a little bit careful. Hans is now cleared out mid, so can join the rest of G2 as they set up for the Rift Herald.
Jhin has Flash Magnet Storm here. Yike doesn't have a flash of his own. If Fnatic want to collapse, they can look for it. Humanoid coming in from the top side as well. No flash on him, nor on Caps. Mikyx going forward, Shattering Strike. There's the Magnet Storm. And it's just so much damage immediately. We saw the smite go down to the Rift Herald. It was G2 who got it, but Fnatic in the end win the fight.
And Yike will give his life to make sure that he can pick it up on the exit as well, but still Fnatic getting more kills in these early stages, and it's a great setup. Jhin ended up being locked down in that last fight, so couldn't use the Crash Down Magnet Storm combo. I was like, great, now I got it available here. So ends up picking off 2 members of G2 off the back of this play.
G2 ambitiously tried to contest this objective. You see it's initially a 3 versus 3, Corki off on the side, but Humanoid can get involved in the fight much quicker. A nice engage comes out from Jhin to completely lock up Mikyx. Hans can't really contribute much in the fight, and it means that it's easy 2 kills. Excitement from the Fnatic coaching staff, as they should be, as Fnatic continue to win out on these early skirmishes.
And I mean, Caps just not in position to follow up at all either, so is G2 a bit out of sorts, and this is what we saw against BDS yesterday, was in game 1, game 2, them overextending to try and commit for some of these objective plays, and BDS were able to punish, and now Fnatic doing the exact same thing in game number 1. Keep my eyes on Mikyx though on the bottom side, just trying to get some vision, as maybe G2 looking to try and set up for this outer turret on bot side, but Fnatic still have a great tempo on the map if you try and trade that for mid if you over push on bot.
I think the important thing for Fnatic as well is their gold lead is extending in other lanes than top lane. You can see Razork 700 gold ahead as Mickey's caught here. Jhin has been doing so much work. The curtain call comes out. Mickey didn't really want an encore, burns the flash to escape it. But you also have almost a 2k lead on Humanoid in mid now as well. He is absolutely monstrous. He might be caught out here as Caps and Yike are looking to collapse.
Yike was on the minimap for a split second.
Rift
Still
Tower
gets
down.
pinged out.
Okay, Humanoid dashes away. The Rift Tower's going to charge in. Humanoid flashes over to the other side. Yike still tanking! And with the culling, Humanoid will make it a 1-for-1.
Nicely done by Humanoid to get the 1-for-1. Now Caps gonna ride this puppy all the way into that bot side, or top side turret, taking about half that HP, but still, Humanoid with a little bit of an outplay there.
Let's see the gold swing. It's 1,000 gold back into Caps' favor as we see Broken Blade trying to catch Oscarinin here with Mickey. Oscar low, the ignite ticking though, and Broken with the flash. Finds the shuriken to get more gold in his pocket.
So a number of things happened there. G2 secured the top tower. G2 find another pick on the bot side of the map. Fnatic don't really have many options outside of securing the Drake from earlier. Now they have to try and defend this tower. I think they're going to be able to do it though. Caps forced the dash away. Same for Han Summer. But this is the bloodshed I believe you gentlemen wanted. And 9-6 in kills. We're 15, 18 minutes in. We'll look back at this dive in top.
Yeah, Yike sets up a Rift Herald, thinks he can go for the play, but Humanoid, nice dash away from the initial charge from Yike. Even with the CC coming down, the dash back just barely gets the double tap that he needs, and it's gorgeous. But off the back of this, I believe, yeah, we see bot lane terror as we get back to live. So even though Fnatic were over pushing in the mid to try and hold on to that mid lane tower, see G2 get another objective off the back of that.
It's how quickly things can swing in a game like this. 2 minutes ago it was a 4,000 gold lead for Fnatic. Now it's about 2.5. If G2 can find a couple more of those standing objectives on the map, they can really get themselves back into this. Fnatic have been playing so well so far, and a lot of it has been through the playmaking potential of Jhin. I'd like to see him involved in more of their plays as we get towards the mid-game.
Humanoid already completing the LDR puts him in a great spot to melt the front line of G2. And this Lucian, often the range can be a problem because while his culling, of course, can do a lot of damage from a great distance, in order for him to really deal a lot of damage consistently, he has to get up close and personal. It's a pretty solid comp because Rell and Renekton are going to act as solid bodyguards to assist him in fighting in those big 5v5s, but the Kennen becomes the scary part as we get closer to these big fights.
And that's why Jhin has exhaust.
Yep.
It's the main reason that Jhin decides to take that summoner spell is just to try and stop Broken Blade from having too much impact when he does dive into the back line. 2.5 minutes on the next Drake, Baron up in 15, but I don't think either team will be making eyes at it as of yet. Likely to see that as an objective after a fight rather than one around which a battle is fought.
It's been really interesting to see how Yike has started to play coming into this mid-game. It's basically been like a Shadow Cap story where consistently moving up towards that top side to guarantee the Caps can push without getting engaged on. You can see now Mickey basically taking on that mantle, but it's very much been a case of feed Caps. Set him up in a position where he's going to be okay to hit this next fight in his stride. 2 items already completed, but I think it's kind of left Fnatic with the opportunity to push outside waves, get Oscarinin into a position where he's able to catch some of these waves as well. But
Jhin. Okay, less involved, Jhin. Less involved in the plays, please. Can I just ask, was that a Mickey Mantle reference? Because if you did a Mickey Mantle reference while he's playing Poppy, that is actually next level.
Yes, but could you tell me who Mickey Mantle is?
He's a very famous baseball player.
Okay,
so it's like he's hitting it out of the park, you know? That was very solid. Even though you didn't mean it, we'll give it to you. The 4 people who usually watch the LCS and are wondering why it's not on yet. They're like, oh, it's a great reference there. Babe Ruth, other things.
Dragon now a minute and a half. Baron is, of course, an option as well. Vision going to be invested from both sides. But as you rightly said, Dagda, G2's priority is not ready to set up for the Baron. I mean, that's obviously a benefit, making Fnatic uncomfortable about approaching that objective. But the goal is to help Caps push out those side waves, keep funneling resources into him. Often, he can become a scary force because he spends so much time in a side lane that he then kind of closes any gold deficit that he finds himself in. But Humanoid is doing a very good job of matching him, constantly catching those waves the Caps is pushing out and maintaining that 1k gold lead that he has. Just be careful though. Does have the level advantage over Caps. This Corki is hovering around though. And once again, there's Yike there to assist. Make sure that Caps can feel safe in clearing out these waves.
You guys are on form. Corki hovering around because he's in a helicopter. Very good. Very good.
Very deliberate, yeah.
For the moment, 2,000 gold separates the two teams. It was being a relatively tense affair. Fnatic did get out to that early lead, and G2 have been able to kind of stymie them from doing too much over the last few minutes. Obviously, without a neutral objective up, apart from the Baron, there's not really too much to fight over.
Yeah, I'm a little worried for Fnatic trying to take fights at this stage, though, because 2 items across the board on G2 is kind of where they are at their scariest. You saw how much damage Caps was able to do on towards Jhin, whereas when you look across to Noah, yes, he's got 2 items, but this Jhin doesn't really hit particularly hard into a tanky frontline right now. As G2 setting up, seeing if they can land the poke.
Cap's going to go and catch that mid lane wave. Oscarinin still in the top side, pushing in, has the TP, burns it now to that control ward in the bot mid bush. The Drake resets. Broken Blade looking for that flank, but Oscar's already marking him. Oscar's already aware that Broken Blade will be trying to get in towards the back of the team. Stuns him up. Curtain Call coming out, Broken Blade trying to dodge away from the second shot, the third shot, eaten by Mikyx, the Magnus Storm. Mikyx takes the fourth, Keeper's Verdict knocks back one, the Strangled Thorns will find him though. Fnatic, they're so healthy on Summer. Able to take one, gets rooted. Oscar flashes across the wall with the dominance, but the cleanse from Hansama in time to keep him safe. Jhin low, Razork though, half HP still, regains control over the pit, over the Drake. Yike trying to get in, but Oscar puts him in his place. Noah finds the kill, TP back in by Broken Blade. Hansama dashing forward, looking for Razork, but he just doesn't quite have the damage. Razork escaped with about 15 HP. Oscar does not have that same luxury. Caps will look for more. He can't find it. Fnatic able to get out with the Drake.
Fnatic put themselves on Soul Point, and Oscar doing an excellent job of marking Broken Blade. That whole fight starts because they limit Broken Blade's impact. He doesn't get the opportunity to ultimate. Noah, with his ultimate, is able to follow up on this as well. You can see Broken Blade's immediately forced to disengage. 50% HP, Jhin sees a nice angle, forces the stun into the engage, and then Fnatic look to collapse. They get that first pick onto Mikyx. The problem is they end up taking a lot of damage from both Hansama and Caps at range, chipping away at their HP, but once the CC lands, you can see how quickly G2 is forced to disengage from the fight.
Yeah, and the fact that you end up with that initial engage coming through from Jhin just puts G2 in such an awkward spot, because Yike has to walk the entire way around the back, so you've no extension frontline for Hansama. And then with the re-engage here, Hansama, that's so unfortunate. Like, has to be nearly single-digit HP for Razork, as then Caps and Broken Blade able to finish off on the top side of the fight.
And now it's Soul Point for Fnatic, and they are eyeing up a win in the first game of this best of 5. A win that would begin to take them on their way to their first title in 6 years. And G2 have been struggling across this playoff, but right now they are not struggling to find a pick. Jhin taken out. First death of the game for the Rell.
And now forces a numbers advantage for G2 on the map. G2, 4-man in mid, going to start to teeter over towards this Baron just to see if they can draw Fnatic in, because if you look at the bot side, you've still got Broken Blade who's pushing in. You have the TP for Humanoid, so he can match, but yeah, Broken Blade doesn't.
Yeah, Broken Blade doesn't have his TP, right? And Fnatic know that because he TP'd into the last fight. It was very obvious when he used it, so they'll know that if Humanoid matches the bot side, Broken Blade would have to stop him from teleporting into the battle. G2 just once again set up a line of scrimmage, go over to their lanes.
Humanoid not expecting there to be a big fight over any immediate objective, essentially set up a freeze on the bot side of the map. Wants to try and set up, well, okay, I say that freeze didn't last very long. But he killed 2 of the wave's minions, so at least it denies some XP from Broken Blade.
Humanoid, no flash, slicing mouse from going down. Humanoid already down to 10% HP. The culling finds its mark, and the light slinger through the heart of BB. Yike, though, here to try and back up his top laner. Humanoid will fall in the end.
But now, that's your jungler on the bottom side, and Fnatic, they're on the Baron.
There's so much poke available for G2, though. The Stranglethorn's coming out as well to enhance those plants. Caps caught up with the captive audience. The curtains open as Caps exhausted, and Jhin trying to take him out. Noah coming in from the side as well. Mikyx did a great job of stopping the curtains from opening onto Caps, and now Hansama tries to put some more damage down. Mystic Shot doesn't quite connect. The Glacial Prison though on Jhin puts him in the dirt, sent home in a body bag. Oscar pops the Dominus, but he's not the one doing the dominating here. Caps TP's back in, True Shot Barrage. He'll look for Razork, he goes in with the Valkyrie, Phosphorus Bomb into the missiles is enough. Caps flashes away, survives, and now Baron on the cards for G2.
Mikyx was so massive in that fight. His ultimate knocked Razork away, and then he pinned Noah to the wall. What should have been an easy kill onto Caps gets completely shut down by this Poppy, and G2 turn the fight around, and now they've got the Baron.
I'm shocked that this is how that passage of play went, especially when you look, it started with Humanoid getting that kill onto BB on the bot side and Yike happened to go down to help.
Just watch Mikyx.
Yeah, it was great. As you can see, the engage starts to come through. Noah sets up as Jhin goes over the wall. He opens up with the curtain call, but doesn't realize that Mikyx's in behind right after he boots Razork out. Slams Noah into the wall, which prevents the final shot going on towards Caps. Jhin doesn't have enough damage, and now Caps is able to get the reset so he can TP back in. And Han Sama, he's under no threat here. Noah's too low to contest him, and they're just able to chase him down. Mikyx on towards Jhin again.
That's one of those cuts where nothing is going to happen, but for a moment, it looks like something might happen. G2, though, now in the gold lead for the first time in about 20 minutes in this game. They do still have to be wary of a Cloud Soul available for Fnatic in 30 seconds' time. Fnatic look like they're overloading the top side of the map right now. Humanoid already here. Razork and Noah on their way across. Jhin is going to match with Noah in the mid lane, but G2 can answer. Broken Blade has flash, has slicing Maelstrom, and Humanoid doesn't flash in time. In the end, he tries to get out, but he can't escape the clutches of Mikyx. Oscarinin permafrosted underneath the tower, and G2 find 2 more. Meanwhile, Han Sama pushing in the bot side will get a tier 2 tower for G2, and Fnatic get 1 in the mid.
The flash ulti from Broken Blade was huge. A big punish onto the top side, defends that top tower, and gets another 2 kills for G2. Fnatic tried to trade by unlocking that mid tower after so many minutes, but G2 just get themselves the bot tier 2 along with the dragon as well. The momentum has very quickly shifted, and it's Fnatic that's forced to play on the defense.
Even a TP from Broken Blade just to keep up pressure. They get the dragon now. They want to use this Baron buff on the tier 2 in mid. You just don't have the resets coming through here for Fnatic just yet. So mid lane tower with this next wave should fall.
You also don't really have much range. Like Razork can put down a plant or 2, but as soon as they're killed off, the curtains will open. But I'm pretty sure Yike's fine with the blinds being closed as they take the mid tier 2. G2 trying to cheat tempo a little bit there by waiting around the corner. Can't go up towards the top side. Broken Blade could match that wave pushing in. Oscar looking for a flank position. Deadly Flourish going wide. Broken Blade still waiting. Not spotted as far as I'm aware. Jundo is caught out. He dashes away. Oscar looking for that flank. G2 immediately collapse. Mikyx able to avoid some of the culling, but he can't avoid the final shot, so he will fall. Oscar pays for his flank with his life, and Noah might pay the price as well. Caught out. The True Shot Barrage does clip the heels of Razork, but doesn't find its mark on Noah.
Again, though, Fnatic being pushed down into this bottom side, and that wave was already brewing in top side. So G2 going to go and collect that one. And Sama going to keep pressure up in mid lane, knowing that he's very easily able to escape if anyone Fnatic shoves on through. So it may not have been as many kills as G2 would have liked, but they get that top side tower.
I think for G2, it's also a big thing that Hans is having a good game on the Ezreal.
Yep.
Something that he just hasn't played so far in summer. Question marks around whether or not this is something they could play. And remember, Fnatic's draft approach was banning out Hans Sama's champions. So him having the ability to rely on something like the Ezreal opens up the draft options for G2, while also puts that pressure on. These teams also have to be thinking about, because this is a long series, right? Even though right now it's a very close affair, 14 kills to 16, we're at 30 kills, 30 minutes. G2 have the Baron, but that doesn't mean that this game couldn't swing just as easily as G2 swung it in the first place.
And just look at the damage that Hans has put down in this game. Obviously, Ezreal, very easy to put damage. Well, good if you are accurate.
I mean, he has been surprised. He's been very accurate in a lot of these fights.
You were going to say surprisingly accurate there for a second.
Well, I mean, again, I don't associate this man with this champion.
I'm not going to disagree with you, Vedius. Just shows
he's having a good game, especially you saw that last mid sequence. He was just single-handedly pushing Humanoid and Noah back on the Ezreal. So great performance from him. Definitely needed him to set up here in the finals, and he's doing a good job so far. Fnatic find themselves with their backs against their base, but not all doom and gloom just yet. Their itemization is still good. A single fight could very much swing this game in their favor. The only problem for them is that this Broken Blade, who's kind of been put down for the vast majority of the game is now very strong. It looks like he's working towards either the Zhonyas or the Deathcap next, and he's in a position where he can really do some serious damage.
4 items complete on towards Humanoid Noah is going to be pretty hurtful for G2 if they end up in a wrong position as well, so they have to be very careful. Infinity Edge just completed for Noah alongside that rapid fire kind of means he's going to be hitting like a truck, so I think for G2 you have to be a little careful about how you set up, but again, this slim gold lead and the control they have on the map is going to make it difficult for Fnatic to really contest.
Caps is going to be the one marking Oscarinin in this side lane, answering that. He does have TP up right now, so he can teleport up towards the top side. A minute on the Baron and a minute and a half before Cloud sold for Fnatic if they can take the next Drake. G2 still 1 dragon away from it. And you can see Fnatic just trying to get some vision in here, putting a ward near the river. Not able to get anything deeper than that right now. Jhin kind of needs his buddies. You want to tag team through the jungle. Don't really want to be exploring it by yourself, because there be Mikyx, like waiting around the corner as well.
Just a bit of a battle over vision for the time being. As you rightly said, Medic, just patient play now as we wait for the next objective. 20 seconds on Baron. G2 is the one with control over the river. We look at the mini-map and we can see there's no real flank wards available for Oscar. But G2, because of all this deep vision, if Fnatic were to start the Baron, it's such a juicy flank angle for Broken Blade, so they've got to make sure that they clean out their side of the map too. As level 18s are being completed. Level 17 now secured for Noah. And Fnatic eyeing up that Baron.
Fnatic needs to be careful, because the TP behind them by Broken Blade, the slicing Maelstrom could be devastating if they overstep, and even without him, look at the damage that's gone down onto Humanoid. Almost at half HP just from the poke out of Hans Summer.
Fnatic have been doing a good job at the moment though defending this top side. They've been using that static shiv on Jhin to keep mid-push pressure against Ansama, making it really difficult for G2 to get those deep wards to enable Broken Blade, but Caps has pushed in bot, now starting to move in, and Broken Blade's walked in, has flash, but exhaust available for Jhin.
It's the problem when you start to fall behind against a team that has a good amount of poke. It's so hard to even check a bush. Jhin, for the luxury of trying to poke his nose into his own jungle, takes about a quarter of his HP. Broken Blade looking for that shuriken as well. Captive Audience doesn't land on anyone. Cap's now going to start up the Drake himself, and Fnatic are none the wiser. Easy enough for G2 because they've controlled vision around here for so long. Mikyx caught out though, flash shadowing and strike. He flashes the way the Magnet Storm was within an inch of catching Mikyx, but it wasn't quite close enough. Yike lands the smite, the Keeper's Verdict knocks away 2 as Mikyx goes in for more. Humanoid ignited, he's gonna dash away. Still alive to fight another day as Fnatic do get 1 out of the fight, but they lose the Drake.
Still got push here on mid for G2 if they want to just clear out this wave and potentially move over towards the Baron. Fnatic, full reset here. Broken Blade still has that Maelstrom available if they want to try and TP him in behind Fnatic.
That ward where Humanoid just walked is a ward for Broken Blade to TP on. Deadly Flourish landing. Yike though, he's the tankiest member. But still Fnatic find him. Broken Blade TP towards the bottom side of mid. Look at the damage onto Humanoid and Razork. Everyone blinking health bars really on nowhere here. They want anyone healthy to try and stand up to the face of G2. Broken Blade and Cap still looking for that flank. BB has the flash. He goes in with the slicing Maelstrom and isolates Noah, but with a cleanse and a flash away, Fnatic continue to live to fight another day! Oh nay, that's 2 for G2. There's 3, make it 4 perhaps as they want more. Oscarinin forced to flash away. G2 have a pushing lane in top.
And you can see the poke damage from G2 is just ruthless. Fnatic killed the jungler, but they don't have the HP to commit to the Baron. And now with 4 members dead, I think G2's going to end the game right now.
Just like that, a snap of their fingers and it's done for G2. Fnatic were in the ascendancy, but G2 said, do you remember what day it is? It's finals, and we're here to play.
It started off so well for Fnatic. It felt like they had everything they needed, but G2, they find that one pick, that one moment, that one tower that just starts to snowball back in their favor.
I mean, huge credit to Hans and Caps. The poke that they were dealing in the late game was just too difficult for them to deal with, and we'll see how things adapt. Great game 1 from the side of G2. Fnatic showing a lot of very positive things, though.
But they are. We'll see how Fnatic are able to adapt after the break. We'll be right back after this.
freely using Katarina's cook.
Kindred cautiously cooked Kit Kat cupcake.
Kindred cautiously cooked Kit Kat cupcake.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Kindred cautiously
Cook Kit Kat cupcakes.
Carefully using
Katarina's cute cookie cutters.
Ooh, I'm on it. I'm ready. Let's go.
Red Bull gives you wings.